to the online class of biology. So, children, we were studying about the second chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants from Unit 1. So, before going to today's portions, I would like to say about the portions that are going to come for your pre-midterm examination. Okay, so we have studied two chapters from genetics, that is principles of inheritance and variation. The first chapter of genetics, unit 2, and second, the molecular basis of inheritance. These two chapters will be there for your pre-midterm exam. So thoroughly prepare. Okay, the question pattern we will introduce you later. So you go through each and everything of these two chapters and get prepared. Okay, so let's go to the today's topic that we have stopped till the agents of pollination. That is, in the previous video we have studied about the wind pollination and the water pollination, isn't it? Pollination by wind and water, and the characteristic features of the flowers that are pollinated by wind and water. Today we are going to continue with the pollination by the biotic agents like bees, etc. Okay, so let's continue. So, a number of biotic agents like bees, butterflies, flies, beetles, wasps, okay, ants, moths, birds, sometimes some primates also like lemurs, arboreal tree dwelling rodents, okay, then reptiles like gecko lizard and garden lizard. See, all these are examples of what? Biotic agents which take part in pollination. Okay, so the most common type of pollinating agent is insects, especially bees. Okay, the bees, you would have heard, if bees are not there, sometimes what happen, the seed set and the crop yield will get reduced a lot. Okay, so that much they are important. And see, the pollen, plants that are pollinated by flowers, okay, pollinated by bees, their flowers are adapted for a particular species of animal. For example, the plants which are pollinated by bees, okay, they can be pollinated only by bees, and the plants which are pollinated by wasp, they can be pollinated only by that. So this pollinating agents and plants, they evolved similarly, or they evolved simultaneously, so that what both are getting benefit. Okay, some kind of mutualism, even you can see. What do you mean by mutualism? It's a kind of relationship between two organisms where both of them are getting benefited. Okay, so likewise, during the course of evolution, as you have not studied evolution, okay, but if you are studying during the course of evolution, what happened, the plants and the pollinating agents, they evolve together. Okay, if any change happens in the flower, the pollinating agents also will change accordingly, so that they can survive. Okay, so if you see the characteristic of insect pollinated flowers, okay, you can see that the flowers will be very large, okay, colorful, then they will produce certain smell or fragrance, and they'll be rich in nectar. All these points you study point by point, because it can be asked for 2 marks, or likewise, and for each point there will be half mark for each point. Okay, so you study in that way. So the insect pollinated flowers are large, colorful, and they will have nice fragrance or smell, and they will have what? Nectar. Okay, so any of this can be. Then if the flowers are smaller, okay, if the flowers are small in size, then they form inflorescence, so that they can attract a number of insects. Okay, then these animals can be attracted to the flowers by color or their fragrance, or simply by color, okay, and by fragrance. Either they will be getting attracted by the color and the fragrance, or simply by the color or fragrance. Have you seen the flowers that are opening during night, like jasmine or all the white flowers? Okay, white flowers will have nice fragrance. Why? Because mainly the fragrance of these flowers are attracting the pollinating agents, okay, during night. Then the flowers pollinated by flies, beetles, etc., they will have foul smells, okay, very bad smell they will have. So that this can be attracted, these flowers can attract the flies and beetles. Okay, so in return, okay, as the this agents are pollinating this flower should what offer something to the pollinating agents. So what is the offer from the flowers? Nectar, pollen grains, etc. Okay, so when this for this nectar and what pollen only they are visiting the flowers, isn't it? The insects, they are visiting the flowers for the nectar and the what pollen grain, and in regard to that, what the plants will get what pollinated. So it's a kind of give and take, isn't it? Give and take relationship. The pollinators will come and pollinate these flowers. Okay, actually their motive is not to pollinate. What is their motive? Only to collect the what nectar and pollen grain. And as they visit these flowers, the pollen grains will stick to their body, and when they go for the next flower for collecting the what nectar or pollen grain, what will happen? This will get transferred to the other flower. So in this way they are what in a kind of mutual relationship. And you can see that the body of the animal which is pollinating, animal or insects, whatever it is pollinating, okay, they will have their body parts also developed like this. Have you seen some of the birds with long beak which what feeds nectar from the some of the flowers? So their beak is very slender and it is long, so that they can take the nectar from the what flowers which are having bell shaped type of corolla. Okay, so likewise what their body parts also get evolved. Okay, they got evolved already, so that they can do the pollination. So I told some of the flowers are giving what nectar or pollen grain in return to their service. Who service? Pollinating agent service. But in some species, okay, the floral rewards are by providing what some place for laying eggs for the insects. For example, have you heard about Amorpha phallus? Amorpha phallus. Amorpha phallus is what? The tallest flower. Okay, the tallest flower, Amorpha phallus, is having a speciality, that is they give a place for the insect to lay eggs. Okay, so they give what safe place for the insect to lay eggs. Okay, another example is yucca and the moth species. Okay, the yucca plant is getting pollinated by moth species, and this too, okay, they are also having a wonderful mutualism type of relationship. Means without this, okay, without this moth, the plant cannot plant cannot propagate. Survive, of course it can do, means it cannot produce their next generation. And the moth also, if the plant is not there, they cannot lay eggs. Okay, so likewise what their relationship is, the moth what it does, it lays the eggs in the locule of the ovary, and what get pollinated, and in turn what the plant will get pollinated by the moth. So always it is not that they will provide nectar and what pollen in return, okay, for the pollination. Sometimes some examples are there where the plants are offering what some place, safe place for the insects to lay eggs. Examples are what? Amorpha phallus and yucca plant. Okay, so all these examples very clearly you have to learn, because it can be asked for 2 marks. Give examples for what plants offering safe place for laying eggs in return to the pollination by the biotic agents. Okay, so any questions, all the examples you have to learn. Okay, then sometimes you can see that some insects simply they go and what take the nectar and pollen grain, and they will not do anything for their pollination. Okay, so such pollinating agents are known as pollen robbers. Okay, or nectar robbers. Okay, they rob, they what cheat the what the plant. Okay, without offering pollination, they simply, because their body parts are not developed for helping in the process of pollination. Okay, so such examples are also there. Okay, pollen cheaters or nectar cheaters. Understood? So we have studied till now what the different the different agents. Okay, so you have to remember about the wind pollinated plants, their specialities, what is their pollen grain speciality, what is the flower speciality, examples, all that you have to learn. Then we have studied about the water pollinating plants, isn't it, and the examples. Then that examples clearly you have to study. Okay, so there are water plants which are which are pollinated by insects also. Okay, pollination by water in Vallisneria. Then see here you can see the diagram. Okay, then insect pollination also. Okay, so likewise there are different examples. All these examples you have to learn. Now I am going to teach you another topic, that is outbreeding devices. Okay, clearly you listen. Outbreeding devices. What do you mean by outbreeding? Outbreeding means the pollination occurs between two different or it is just like xenogamy. Okay, between two different plants, and this outbreeding devices, okay, are nothing, no device, no instrument. It is some techniques that plants develop to encourage cross pollination. Okay, so this also was asked once and many have not written. What is it? Outbreeding devices. Devices means when you listen you will get confused, so clearly you listen. What is it? Outbreeding devices means it is the techniques that the plants developed for encouraging cross pollination. So many plants are hermaphrodites. Hermaphrodites means what? Both. Have you studied hermaphrodite, this term? Last year you have learned, isn't it? When you learned about the earthworm, isn't it? They are hermaphrodites, means male and female part will be there in the same flower. Okay, so there is more chance of what? The pollen grain of the same flower to fall on the stigma of the same flower. Okay, so this will help in what? Help in the self pollination. So to prevent the self pollination, some what kind of techniques the plants are developed, so that only is coming under what? Outbreeding devices. Okay, so if self pollination happens continuously, what will happen? It will result in inbreeding depression. Okay, so what do you mean by inbreeding depression? That is continuous self pollination, okay, will result in the loss of vigor, means the plant will not be able to produce what? High yield, or it shows some depression. Okay, depression means what? A kind of less production. Okay, so to avoid this, the plants encourage what? Cross pollination. So some of the cross pollination technique or outbreeding devices are: first is the pollen and stigma. Their maturity, okay, will be not in the same time. Okay, pollen release and stigma receptivity, okay, that will be not synchronized, means it will be in different time. First what happened? The flowers anther will mature and they release the pollen grain, but at that time the stigma may not be matured properly. Okay, or stigma may likewise, okay, stigma may get matured first, but at that time what won't be? The anthers won't be mature. Okay, then another or see, so the pollen grains will be released before the stigma become receptive, or stigma become receptive much before the release of pollen. Okay, then another what device. So first is what time. Okay, at different times they get matured. Then second is what the anther and stigma are placed at different positions. Okay, so for examples, the stigma may be placed at the top and the anther will be at the lower at a lower place, so the pollen grain may not easily reach. Okay, there are chances but easily they won't reach. Okay, so these two devices, they help in what, preventing autogamy. What is autogamy? The pollination between the anther and stigma of the same flower. Okay, so the next device that we need to discuss is what, the self incompatibility. What is it? Self incompatibility. Self incompatibility means, okay, see here, self incompatibility. Self incompatibility means the unable means the pollen grains of the same flower may not be able to what, grow on the stigma of the same flower. So that condition is known as what? Self incompatibility. Okay, from the same flower. Understood? Or flowers of the same plant, means genetically it is determined. Understood? So what, the flower, the anther pollen grain from the same flower or from the other flower of the same plant may not be able to grow on the stigma of the flower. Understood? So this helps to prevent what, both autogamy and geitonogamy, isn't it? Then another device is to prevent the self pollination is the production of unisexual flowers. Have you heard about unisexual flowers? Means flowers with one sex, either male part or female part. You can easily see this in bitter gourd plants or this one, what, cucumbers, etc. You can see two types of plants are developed by the same plant. Have you seen? One type of flowers will have what, the small bitter gourd at their base, okay, in bitter gourd plant, and another one will be on the stalk, okay, on the pedicel you can see simply a flower. But if you see another kind of flower, you can see a what, stalk or pedicel will be there, and at the top of that there you can see a small bitter gourd, and on that flower you can easily understand. So the flowers with the small ovary, actually what is becoming the fruit? Bitter gourd is what? Actually the ovary, isn't it? When at maturity, ovary is becoming the flower. So small bitter gourd that you are seeing at the base of the flower is what? Ovary of the flower. That means it's a female flower. And another kind is there which is not having the what, that ovary, means that's a male flower. So there are what, plants which can produce unisexual flowers. Okay, unisexual flowers. So if sometimes what happen, both this male and female flowers will be present on the same plant. Examples are castor, maize, and even you can write this, what, cucumbers. Okay, then what, bitter gourd, all this. So this prevents autogamy but not the geitonogamy. Okay, then in some species the plant itself will be a male or female. How? One kind of plants will produce only male flowers and another kind will produce only female. Okay, so example is papaya. Okay, so this kind of flowers are known as dioecious plants. Okay, just like human being, we are dioecious, isn't it? Means male and females are different. So in the same way, what, male and female plants will be there. Have you heard some plants, if two are there or two plants are there, then only it will give fruits? Have you heard about people are talking like that? So this is because of this. Why? Because the plants will be either male or female, because one kind of plant produce only male flowers and the other will produce only female flowers. So this condition prevents both autogamy and geitonogamy. So this examples clearly you will have to learn. Okay, so outbreeding devices. First is what? First I told the position, the time of the maturity of the anther and the stigma will be different. Second is their position will be different. Okay, so this prevents. Okay, then what this kind of pollination. Okay, this kind of position and or outbreeding devices that prevents what? The self pollination. Then third I told what? Self incompatibility. And fourth is what? Fourth is about the production of unisexual and bisexual flowers. Okay, in the same plant. And the last is the production of male and female plants. Okay, means one kind of plant with the same type of flowers, female or male flowers. Okay, so you have to learn where the geitonogamy and autogamy is prevented, where autogamy is only prevented. Okay, so all that you have to study clearly. So hope all this portion is very clear to you.